After the accident, I thought Mom would just heal, but something inside her changed. It's subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but now I realize she isn't the same person anymore. Before you continue, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to share is not just a story, it could be a warning. Ever since the accident, everything about Mom has been off. At first, it was just small gestures and expressions that didn't quite fit the woman I knew. The way her smile lingered too long, or how it never seemed to reach her eyes. I blamed the trauma, the shock, the long nights in the hospital. I kept telling myself that recovery would eventually bring back the mother I remembered. But over the weeks, I began to notice more unsettling things. Small things that should have been harmless. The way she sometimes stared at corners of the room as if someone was there, someone I couldn't see, or how she would hum melodies that I didn't recognize. Ancient and discordant tunes that made my skin crawl even though they were soft and quiet. Then came the changes in her habits. She started rearranging objects obsessively. Doors would open and close on their own. Lights would flicker whenever she was angry or upset. It was subtle, but unmistakable if you were paying attention. I tried to rationalize it, telling myself stress and grief could cause strange behaviors. Yet nothing explained the way her voice shifted sometimes, dipping into tones that were not hers, guttural and low, like something beneath the surface was speaking through her. My father noticed too, though he refused to say it aloud. His silence was heavy, as if acknowledging it would make it real. But the unease in the house grew. The air became thick with tension and an almost imperceptible vibration, a hum that no one could locate but we all felt in our bones. One night I woke to find her standing in the living room, completely still. Her eyes were fixed on a spot above the fireplace, her lips moving in a whisper I couldn't hear. When she noticed me, her expression was blank, vacant. For a split second, a flicker of my mother's warmth emerged before vanishing completely. I realized then that this was no ordinary grief or trauma, but something more insidious. It was as if the accident had torn a hole inside her, letting something in that was now reshaping her from within. Over the following days, the changes accelerated. Her gestures became sharper, more precise, yet mechanical. The warmth in her touch was replaced by an icy calculation. At times, her skin seemed almost paler, thinner, with veins subtly visible beneath. Her movements were fluid, yet unnatural. I began to hear whispers, soft and unintelligible at first, echoing in the corners of rooms when she was alone. They sounded like words that made no sense, yet carried weight like instructions, promises, or threats. The worst part was how she started reacting to things before anyone else noticed them. She knew I was coming before I entered a room. She moved objects in ways that seemed impossible to predict. When I confronted her, asking if she remembered the accident or the hospital, she would just smile. A slow, unsettling grin, tilting her head as if considering how much to reveal. And in her eyes, I glimpsed something I could not name. Something alien yet human, a predator hidden beneath familiarity. Sometimes, at night, I would hear her whispering alone, telling stories I could not understand, calling names I did not recognize, laughing softly to herself. I began to notice changes in my own perception. I felt watched even when she was asleep. I could sense a presence that seemed connected to her. It was then I realized the accident had not only changed her body and mind, but had opened a door. And whatever crossed through it could affect me too. It was shaping the house, twisting the space, creating shadows that moved against the light. A pulse that seemed to match hers, a rhythm I could not escape. I tried to get help, to bring in doctors, therapists, anyone, but the explanations never fit. The tests came back normal. Her brain scans showed nothing unusual. Her reflexes were perfect. The subtlety of the changes was impossible to quantify. Even my own family began to doubt me, thinking perhaps I was imagining it, stressed by the lingering fear of the accident. Yet I could not ignore the way her shadow lingered too long, how she sometimes appeared behind me even when I was alone, or how objects moved in response to her unseen will. Then, one evening, as a storm raged outside, I saw her transform in front of me. It was subtle, yet undeniable. A flicker of something inhuman crossed her features. Her eyes widened, her skin rippled as if something beneath was shifting. And she smiled at me, the expression impossible to read, half love, half malice. I realized with terror that my mother was no longer the same. The accident had left her host to something ancient, intelligent, and patient. And what I had feared as madness was in fact a presence that had rooted itself inside her, growing, learning, watching. I felt my own body respond, my heart racing, my muscles tensing as if the air itself vibrated with a warning. My mother was no longer fully hers. She existed on the edge of human and something else. Every day I see it more clearly in her gestures, in the soft hum of her voice at night, in the way she sometimes stares past me, seeing what I cannot. And I know with a sick certainty that this is only the beginning. The accident did not merely injure her. It unlocked something. An entity, a force that now uses her as a vessel, reshaping her subtly, bending her mind and body to its own will. And there is no way to reverse it, no cure, no explanation that will satisfy reason. Now, as I'm recording this, I can hear her in the next room, humming softly, moving objects slightly, whispering words I do not understand. I'm trapped in the house with her, watching the transformation continue, feeling it affect the air, the walls, the shadows. I know that each day she drifts further from the woman I loved, becoming something else entirely. And I am powerless to stop it. I can only observe, document, and warn anyone who will listen. Because the accident was not just a crash, not just a wound, it was the doorway. And my mother crossed it, leaving only a shell behind, a vessel that is no longer hers. I fear the moment when whatever is inside her will claim the rest. When the last fragment of my mother disappears, leaving only a presence that moves, thinks, and waits. The only thing I can do is watch, afraid to sleep, afraid to speak, afraid to exist in the same house as her, knowing that the person I knew is gone. All that remains is something patient, calculating, and terrifying, waiting for the moment to step fully into the world. If this story unnerved you, leave a comment and share your thoughts. And explore the channel for more tales of ordinary lives turning into nightmares. Thanks for watching.